Hi beauties, welcome to my channel HI Beauty by Julia. The topic for today is part 2 of the pigmentation concern. So last week I was speaking a little bit more about the science behind pigmentation and what types there are. And for the video today I will speak a little bit more about the ingredients that you can incorporate in order to improve the pigmentation that concerns you. First, I want to mention home remedies. You probably know I'm not a huge fan. I do understand sometimes you prefer something a bit more natural. You want to know what's inside of your product. But I'm not going to talk about preservatives and things like this. I want to address the fact that things like garlic, lemon peel, essential oils, apple cider vinegar might be useful according to some people for your pigmentation, but you have to dilute them. They are very strong. For instance, apple cider vinegar has pH of around 2, 2.5. If you still want to use something like essential oils or any of those I already mentioned, then you do have to use them with carrier oils. Don't apply them straight away on the skin and use them only in the evening. That's very important because ingredients like this might make your skin more sensitive towards UV damage instead of actually helping in this case. And be very gentle to the skin. I believe it's much more useful to use something like a honey with some milk. In milk there is lactic acid, so that's very useful for pigmentation. You can use things like your green tea. So when you do your tea, you drink the tea, and then the pack that you have you can apply over the face. It's a bit like a toner, and this will be very useful. Obviously, again, you can mix a bit of your green tea water with some milk and honey, so it's basically like another tea just for your skin. Melanocytes are very complicated. Then they don't just produce melanin and that's about it. They contain an enzyme. So what many brands are trying to explain and advertise to you is that they cut the connection between the enzyme and the melanocytes. Copper is interacting with the active site of tyrosinase, and that's why some of the products will explain that they will reduce this type of connection of the copper and the enzyme, and therefore the melanocytes will produce less pigmentation. Some of the information that you can see now was published in the British Association of Dermatologists in 2013. So I'm using this in order to explain you a little bit better how actually different compounds are working, what is their mechanism of action when they're trying to reduce the pigmentation of your skin. I would like to start with the famous ingredients that are largely used to fight with pigmentation. And the first one is hydroquinone. Now, this is ingredient which is called the gold standard, and it has been a very useful the past 50 years. It is very useful and very strong. Now, because of safety issues here in UK and in Europe, it's ingredient that you need to go to see your GP or dermatologist because you need prescription. But this is something that will not be ongoing treatment. So you will use it, usually the course of treatment is around 3 months. With this ingredient there are quite a few issues, if you want to say. And the first one is obviously things like sensitivity, so redness. Also, you might be allergic towards the ingredients. So once again, do patch test before you start using it over larger areas over your face. And the third issue is called ghosting. Now, this means that the pigment around your spot might be affected. So it's some kind of discoloration outside of the zone that you are targeting. And in order to avoid this type of negative reaction from the skin, you have to apply very gently in the middle of the pigmentation and slightly feather it towards the corners of the pigmented area. The next very widely used treatment for pigmentation is by alpha arbutin. Arbutin is naturally occurring into our body, and usually in cosmetic products you can see alpha arbutin because this is the most stable form. There is also beta arbutin and deoxyarbutin, while the last one is synthetically made. For this form, there are very promising results from trials in vitro, in vivo, on guinea pigs, but we don't have a well-controlled results and tests, and that's why you don't see it very often into products. It's very interesting how alpha arbutin is working on our skin because once applied it breaks down into sugars and hydroquinone, but it is not hydroquinone, so you don't get the same side effects. Indeed, it's very gentle, so it breaks down very slowly into the skin, which means that it's much less likely to cause any kind of irritation. Most of the studies believe that the most efficient concentration is around 2.5 to 3, but in this case you do have to bear in mind what is the delivery system of your product. So probably the most used and most budget-friendly option will be the ordinary. They have 2% alpha arbutin with hyaluronic acid solution, and although it is 2%, it is quite strong and suggested as quite efficient because hyaluronic acid is used as a carrier molecule in order for the alpha arbutin to penetrate well into the skin and give you good results. The ordinary has another option, which is 8% of ascorbic acid or vitamin C with 2% alpha arbutin, and this will be something a little bit stronger, so this might not be for everyone. Great option will be the Liquorice. They also have 2% alpha arbutin, which contains hyaluronic acid, but you also get some tetrapeptides, soybean extract into your product. When we talk about those one, you can use them as once a week pill or you can use them as a leave-on product, but not more than 3 to 4 times a week and only in the evening. Now the most famous one from the alpha hydroxy acids is definitely glycolic acid. Now if you're skin of color, I will definitely suggest for you not to use more than 5% glycolic acid. You have many more options and you should definitely start with mandelic acid, whatever your skin tone is, because mandelic acid has the largest of the molecules, which means that it will penetrate not so deep. Lactic acid is somewhere in the middle and it works very well for pigmentation, but once again this is not something for everyone. Salicylic acid is great, especially if you do have troubles such as acne and oiliness of the skin, because unlike the alpha hydroxy acids, salicylic acid is oil soluble, so it's ingredient which is capable of going into the skin, dissolving the dirt and the extra dead cells, and then you can remove it from the skin. So if your skin is oily, it's definitely something that you should be using. Your lotion, your serum are also exfoliating and you are not supposed to use them every evening. A product to start with is the mandelic solution from The Ordinary. It has 10% mandelic acid with hyaluronic acid and some pepper berries, which are antioxidants, so it's once again something very budget friendly. Another option will be Face Theory. They have Mandelic Bright Serum, which contains 10% mandelic acid with 2% niacinamide. If your skin is angry, like mine, and sensitive, and you still want to do something to remove the dead skin cells, to speed up the skin turnover, then you can use polyhydroxy acids. They have large molecules, they're unlikely to cause irritation. The Watermelon Glow with polyhydroxy acids and beta hydroxy acids by Glow Recipe is another great product. You have two options if you want to try it. You have 40 ml option and then you have 150 milliliters of option. Now the shame is here that it has perfume. If you're someone like me that doesn't like them, I'm just saying it for you to know. If you don't have sensitivity from perfumes, good for you. I do think that in this case it's mainly masking ingredient because it has such a great ingredients list. So it's based on cactus extract and watermelon, then comes the water. You do get things like cucumber, even cabbage, willow bark, tea tree, so it's great product to try. Out of the very familiar exfoliating acid comes the kojic acid. Now this is ingredient which comes from fermented rice usually, and it's very used for a lightening, brightening type of products. Here the risk is usually allergic dermatitis, and that's why you can find it in lower solutions when we are talking about home care. In Japan and Switzerland, kojic acid is illegal, but here in UK it's not. So I think once again we do have a few issues with the safety of the products. Men's Science has pigmentation repair formula. It has a derivative of vitamin C, which is shortly called MAP. It also has kojic acid inside and glycolic acid. So it's rather strong ingredients list. I don't think that's something for a newbie, but it's definitely something that you can try on. And you should not be afraid that it is for a men or men's skincare. If your skin is not sensitive, and especially if it's oilier, it's very unlikely to make any difference for your skin if it's men's skincare or if it's women's skincare. Garden of Wisdom has 2% alpha arbutin and 1% kojic acid serum. Tranexamic acid is definitely an ingredient that you should incorporate into your skincare routine if you worry about pigmentation. Because of its name, people are afraid of it, but it doesn't have exfoliating properties. Actually, it's synthetically made, but it is derivative of an amino acid which our body contains. Therefore, because we recognize it, it's very unlikely to cause irritation. And actually, it has anti-inflammatory properties as well. So budget-friendly and working solution will be the tranexamic acid solution from the Inky list, and it is a night treatment which contains 2% tranexamic acid and also vitamin C. So it's something that plays very well with such ingredients as obviously vitamin C, but also the different acids like glycolic acid or salicylic acid, and ingredients that don't go very well with others such as retinol. Your next step will be the Extra Glow Serum from Face Theory, because this one has 5% tranexamic acid. And your third option will be Murat. They have replenishing multi-acids pill. Now this one is around 50 pounds and it's 100 milliliters, but once again, pills are something you should be using once, maximum twice a week, and only in the evening. The other non-exfoliating acid is azelaic acid. It's actually something that you can use if you have acne, if your skin is very sensitive, even for rosacea, and it does work well for pigmentation. Now, once again, you do have to combine it in order to get the best benefits. But even on its own, it can be used for a lot of different skincare concerns. It is naturally occurring into our body, so it's once again unlikely to cause irritation. Flawless Brightly Serum by Dr. Sam's contains 10% of azelaic acid, 5% of niacinamide, and 2% of ascorbyl glycoside, which is a derivative of vitamin C. You have two more options for 10% azelaic acid products, and this will be by The Ordinary, which has basically this and a few emollient into the product, and Paula's Choice, Paula's Choice is a booster, so you can use it on its own or you can just add a few drops into your serum and moisturizer. It's up to you. The next type of products will be your vitamins. So we're gonna start with vitamin A. In this case, I'm talking about retinol. Retinol is an ingredient that will speed once again the skin turnover. That means that the keratinocytes, which are having this type of trouble with pigmentation, will actually get quicker to the surface of the skin and be shedded away. Vitamin B3 or niacinamide is the other vitamin that I want to mention when we talk about hyperpigmentation. Now, because it works very well for a lot of different concerns, it is water soluble, which means that it could be easily part of any type of lotion or serum. You can see it in a lot of different products, from products for pigmentation to acne, oiliness, anything really, even hydration. And also the reason is because it is not expensive, so it's something that very likely is already part of your skincare routine. As you might guess, the last one is vitamin C, which is very used ingredient for brightening uneven skin tone, for dull complexion and ashy tones. You can name it as you want. If it's uneven skin tone, very likely you will see vitamin C inside. And I already spoke about this ingredient in 2 of my previous videos. The last group of ingredients are your natural extract. And here I want to start with the licorice or licorice. This is a root of a herb and it has anti-inflammatory properties. It is antioxidant. It also inhibits the production of melanin. You can find licorice in your product as dipotassium glycyrrhizate, and this is a yellowish looking powder. This is the salt of the plant, and it is very used because it's very stable as well, and it will give slightly sweet aroma to the product. I already mentioned a few products that you can see that do contain licorice inside, but here I want to mention brightening serum, which contains ingredients such as the licorice, but also you can see inside red algae, niacinamide, and even turmeric. The other natural ingredient that you can go for is soy. It comes from the soybeans and it is very used into different kind of products. There is a whole brand which is called Sana. It is Japanese and all of their products are soy based. So they have everything from a cleanser to a serum to eye cream and moisturizer. Now it's not so easy to be found. I know that one of their authorized sellers here in UK is Yes Style, and the other option for brands will be Fresh. Fresh has also a line which contains soy. Have you heard about lignin peroxidase? This is something quite new. This is an extracellular enzyme that is actually able to break down pigmentation. The reason why I am mentioning it because it works very differently from everything else. So instead of trying to disconnect the keratinocytes and melanocytes or inhibit the enzyme, actually it just breaks down and it oxidizes already pigmentation spots that are on the skin. This fungus enzyme I am mentioning also because it is considered to be very eco-friendly, and also its effectiveness is looking into 2% hydroquinone and steroids, so it is comparing this ingredient with those one. Ure Advanced Lightening Lotion, it's 45 milliliters, so it's slightly larger, but it does cost £90. And this was the only product that I have found right now on the market that you can see here in UK because it's very new ingredient. I hope I gave you enough information so that you know what to start using in order to treat your pigmentation. Please consider subscribing to my channel.